So I'm going to talk about washing your knits after you've finished them. If you use our Miniballs or our Kinross, this has come straight off the cone. So we buy the cones in like this, and we wind the hanks and the Miniballs straight from the cone. Normally, if you were using hand knitting yarn, it has been scoured, it's been washed going from the cone into the ball. But we don't do that, mainly for economic reasons. It's very expensive to send stuff off to get scoured, but also personally I find you get a much nicer feel if you do this process yourself. I find some of the industrial processes over scour things and it can feel a bit dry, but it's really easy to do. So you just knit with it totally normally and then wash your finished item, which you probably were going to do anyway if you were blocking it or whatever. So I've got a few things here piled up waiting to wash. This is a Kaylee hat knitted in Kinross. It's slightly lumpy. The washing process removes some of the oils, some of the natural lanolin that's still in the yarn, and the spinning oils that's added to make it go through the spinning machinery. And this allows the yarn to soften and bloom. So the stitches will even out as well. So this is a North Lights hat knitted in one of our new colours, the beadlet, and I've also got a Harold Fatmas, bits of a Harold Fatmas, poor little mouse, and some swatches. So I've filled the sink with water and warm-ish. It's not quite warm enough, so I'm going to add some more warm water because I've just got a hand machine here, and I'm going to add some magic, a very expensive Christmas morning fresh washing up liquid. So we're going to do 2 washes. The second one you can put something nice, you know, something that smells nice. This is apple fresh, quite pleasant. But if you're wanting, you know, a wool wash, like one of your soak or Eucalyptus or an unfragranced or something like that, then do that on the second wash. The first wash, because we're trying to remove oil, we want a detergent that's supposed to remove oil. So ordinary washing up liquid is my preferred choice. So add a nice glug of that, so if you're going to do your washing up, you'll add some more boiled water, and you want it hand hot, you know. Might add a bit more. I've got more water in there now. And then I'm going to dump all my bits in. So we're then going to give them a good squidge. So you can actually be quite forceful here. What you're trying to do is almost the first part of felting. So you will definitely get some clouding in the water, that's the oils, and you will also get some dye coming off, so you'll see colour in the water. This will happen on the first wash, and the second wash should be clear. If you've still got colours coming off in the second wash, then try a third wash. But I've very rarely found out. I think the one that's doing most of it is the burgundy here. So you can see my water is going an interesting sort of reddy pink colour there. And I'm not in the least bit concerned about the other colours in here picking up any of that, because I'm not doing a dye fixing process, so the dye won't fix on it. So I like to give them a rub. So this is Harold, as if I was trying to hand felt something. So you can, people are like, oh, I'm gonna felt it, I'm gonna felt it. Well, that's the first, sort of the start of the first process that we need to do, because we're wanting to get these oils out and soften the stitches. So once it's all nicely been agitated, don't slop too much on yourself, then we're going to leave it to soak for about 10 minutes. Kapow! So 10 minutes have magically passed. We've got some quite maroon looking water here, and all we're going to do is drain that all gently squeeze out the excess. And then we're going to rinse. You can already see we're getting a little bit of the bloom coming on. So we're going to rinse these with the rather meagre hot water that we have. I normally do this process at home. So just going to put them onto the warm running water. Try not to shock it too much by getting it between the hot and the cold, otherwise you will actually felt it. And I'm going to squeeze out all the maroon soapy water until it's looking fairly clear. And then we're going to refill the basin. Oh, I nearly lost an ear down the sink. There's one of Harold's ears nearly went down the plug hole. Right. So, put the plug back in. Now, I'm going to use this again, make everything smell apple-y, but feel free to use something a bit milder at this point, because this is more about washing it than removing the oils, so more about allowing the stitches to bloom, etc. So I'm just going to add a little bit this time. Let's see if you've got any left, because there's not a huge amount in here. And then we're going to put it back in. We're just going to get it well saturated. And we're going to leave it to soak for another 10 minutes or so. So once everything, and you can see this time that the water is clear. So we haven't got the dye leaking on the second occasion. I've just found Harold's tail. Oh dear. Right. He'll have a slightly less soft tail than the rest of him. I knew one of the bits would fall on the floor. Right, so we shall leave that to soak for another 10 minutes. So, we're done. Now we just need to squeeze it all out again. Give it another rinse. Rinse out all the apple fresh washing up liquid. Keep gently squeezing and running it under the water until what comes out doesn't look bubbly anymore. Warm up a bit more. And then we're going to press it in a towel to get the excess out and put it over the radiator to dry. So, poor little tail. Hopefully that's going to be clean enough. So squeeze out as much water as you can. Lay them out in a towel, which you can't see. But that one still can hear it. Still got bubbles in it. One downside of the washing up liquid is that you work a bit harder to rinse it out than if you're using a wool wash, especially one of the no rinse ones. So, lay them out in a towel, and then roll the towel up. Stick it out the end. Into a sausage. And then we tread on it. So, we do a little tap dance. There we go. So you should see damp patches on the towel where you press the water out, you unroll it, all our items should be have the excess squeezed out of them. So let's go and reshape them a bit and dry them on a radiator. So some of them might want just reshaping so that they're not all crumpled up. And so you should be able to see that our stitches are nice and clear and they're evened out a lot. Hopefully you can see there's a bit of a bloom on that, but it's not felted in any way. But what you can't feel is that it's lovely and soft now. So assuming the hat is the right shape, if you need to put it on to check before you dry it, just to pull it into shape if it's looking a bit small and needs stretched. Obviously if this were lace you'd pin it out, or however you're going to dry or block swatches. And there's poor Harold and his bits. Harold's bits need a bit of care. We will turn him into Harold eventually. And there we go. They will dry and they will be lovely.